Listed companies are required to maintain at least 25% of free public float at all points in time, which basically means that in a controlled transaction which triggers an open offer, which has to be made for at least 26%, there is a possibility that an acquirer ends up acquiring more than 75%, thereby breaching the 25% limit. In order to address this, one needs to understand the trinity, as we call it, of public M&A, which is minimum public shareholding requirements of 25%, declassifying an existing promoter and promoter group into a public shareholding base, and number 3, a potential delisting alongside an open offer. So firstly, it becomes important to explore how an acquirer doesn't cross the 75% mark despite an open offer. One simple way in which one could explore doing this is to basically reduce the number of shares that you would buy in a triggering transaction itself, which basically means that you will wait for the open offer to conclude, and let's say you've got 10% tenders in the open offer, you would effectively ensure that you would buy proportionately lesser number of shares from the triggering transaction in a manner to ensure that you don't cross the 75% mark. Now, this is something that is simple to execute. The only thing that one needs to be mindful of is how an exiting shareholder can be reclassified as a public shareholder. There are 2 key conditionalities. One, the exiting promoter should not be holding 10% or more in the listed company. And number 2, that the exiting promoter should not have any special rights, should not be holding any board seats, should not be having any KMP positions in the company. This is important because then the exiting promoter's stake can be reclassified and be considered for public shareholding, thereby reducing the nature of the problem for the acquirer. Another route that SEBI has recently permitted is for a new acquirer, someone who's not holding 25% or more or is not a promoter in a listed company, to pro rata reduce what they are going to receive in an open offer alongside reducing in the same proportion what they buy in a secondary transaction. So one question that we often get from clients is, can you delist a company if you have crossed the 75% mark pursuant to an open offer? The short answer is no. The only way in which you could potentially explore a delisting along with an open offer is that you would upfront announce, when you're announcing the open offer, your intention to delist the company. Now, there are important considerations here that one needs to keep in mind. One, that such a delisting is being made by a person who is not looking to acquire co-control along with an existing promoter. Number 2, you would also have to give an indicative price of the delisting, which is a fixed price, but it has to be at a premium to the open offer price. Number 3, at least 75% of the public shareholders present and voting need to approve the delisting. And number 4, such number of shares need to be tendered in the delisting offer by public shareholders that makes the acquirer reach or cross 90% shareholding in the company. Failing any of these, the delisting offer would fail, which basically means you will need to switch back to the open offer. And all of the considerations that applied for reclassification as well as for minimum public shareholding applies again. Therefore, when deciding to take control over a listed company that triggers an open offer, it is important that acquirers decide whether they wish to continue with the company being listed or delist the company and price that into the transaction and into the consideration upfront itself.